Welcome to Combo. Today's Combo. This is a YouTube drawing show where we make a collaborative combo drawing. We use digital drawing site called Aggie or Aggie, I'm still not sure, to draw in the same space at the same time, have a conversation and a good time. There's no pressure to draw a certain quality here, no pressure to finish a drawing. This is should be a fun, relaxed time and we are going to have a good conversation. I make these videos, number one, to help help sell the comics that I'm making. Right now, I have a Dark Mouse Kickstarter for the next Dark Mouse comic book. You can go to eyedraw.com, EYEDRAUGH. It's on the screen. Go to eyedraw.com and follow that, donate to the campaign, or share it with a friend if you can. And then probably the better reason to do this is to hang out with people that I can't physically hang out with in person or haven't seen in a long time. And today that's Don Nguyen. Don, how the heck are you? What are you working on? What's the pitch for Don?
Oh man, thanks very much for having me on. What am I working on? Well, right now I am also part of a Kickstarter campaign done by Orange Cone Productions. It is Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, the follow-up to the really popular Cthulhu Invades Oz book. So second in, I think it's going to be a trilogy. So there's going to be 3 of them. So Cthulhu Invades Neverland is the 3rd one that's going to be coming up. And then at WonderCon, which I'm going to see you there, right? We're going to be promoting Battle Grapple Rebel, which is written by Michael Tanner, who does Junior Braves of the Apocalypse for Oni Press. We have this book. It's essentially going to be like Battlestar Galactica meets kayfabe, which is what goes on behind the scenes of wrestling. So it'll be like Battlestar Galactica meets WWE or AEW for you fans out there. Dave Wheeler is also involved in the project. He's doing inks and letters, and Travis Webb, who does the Starlight comic, which is funded. I think he's done 3 or 4 of those on Kickstarter. So a lot of things happening. And then Retro, another project I'm involved with. We just got Ellie Wright, who colors for like Red Sonja. She does a lot of Dynamite. I think she does IDW and some Marvel books and DC books. She's signed on to help us with the coloring of this retro project that we got going on. And hopefully we'll be able to see that as a campaign soon. And they're also doing it as a short film with actor Reno Wilson playing the titular character Retro. And hopefully we'll get to see that at some short film festivals this year. And then what else? Working on Pablo #2, Pablo the Gorilla. For those who don't know me, I do a comic about an albino cyborg gorilla that delivers pizza named Pablo. So I'm working on the second one, hope to have it done soon as well. And then I just finished a few weeks ago a brand new sketch card set for Marvel Upper Deck, and hopefully I'll get to do an art drop of that in the fall if they give me permission and if all my cards are approved, or whichever cards are approved, I guess.
That's awesome. That's so many things, man. That's
I try.
Yeah, that's congratulations on just being a part of so many different gigs. Like you and I met at and we should start drawing here in a second, but you and I met in line to get our portfolios reviewed at WonderCon, I want to say.
Yep. Yeah.
And that was like, you remember when that was, like 2013, 2014?
Was it that far back? I want to say it was like 2017, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Like 2017, 2016. Yeah, Facebook could tell us. But it was you and Adriano De Benedetto, who now inks for Marvel. He's the guy who inks over RB Silva's artwork. So a lot of times when you see RB Silva doing a book on Marvel, ADR will be inking. Remember that guy? I remember him showing us his inks, and I was like, how are you not already inking for Marvel?
I don't.
Sure enough, there he is.
I don't remember him, but I remember, now that you mentioned, I remember somebody else showing us their inks and just like, yeah, being like, just like flat, like really impressed by it.
Yeah, that was him. He, for those who don't know, ADR, he posts videos and stuff too online, and he uses like a 000 brush to like ink all that stuff, which explains why his cross hatching and feathering looks so amazing. But yeah, that dude, it's all like hand brushed, like old school inks, and it is beautiful.
Really good.
Check it out.
Nice. Okay, cool. So we are here in meeting today because number one, I invited you. Number two, we're gonna make a drawing together. And again, no
Okay.
pressure on quality or anything like that. So normally, we start out with a couple of things. Number one, a flat background, which I'm gonna drop in here in a sec. This deal here, and you've never used Aggie before, right?
No, I've never used Aggie before.
Awesome.
I think this
So
was me messing around with the opacity. I was trying to get like a minimum maximum line to get line width variation.
yeah,
I figured that out yet.
it's well, let's see where I can drop this below so you can still be figuring it out. We can go more blue
Oh, there we go.
to match this. And it's also it's pressure sensitive, so that's kind of nice, if that's helpful at all. There we go.
Whoa, look at that.
A little more, a little less jarring. So normally we'll do drawings of like stuff that, or at least in the past couple sessions that I've done of this, what we do is we draw just like based on things that we're inspired by. So like recently I've drawn the drawing of the turning red panda. We've done dark mouse stuff. We've done Batman fighting the Green Goblin, because me and my buddy were talking about how the movie The Lighthouse is just those two actors, Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, and it's Batman and the Green Goblin in the lighthouse, so they're fighting around the lighthouse. So that's kind of fun.
That's so true. I didn't even think about that. That's so funny.
Yeah, and like I still haven't seen The Lighthouse. I hear it's great, and I will see it.
It's good.
Yeah. But yeah, so is there anything that you had your heart set on drawing today?
No, not at all. I think I'm getting used to this.
Nice. Do you would you be down to draw just like our characters? You draw Pablo the Gorilla, and I draw Dark Mouse the Mouse.
Sure. Or do you want to switch it up and then you take Pablo and I'll take Dark Mouse?
Ooh, I am so down. I don't know enough about Pablo, but I'm on your site right now on my other monitor, and I'm going to get some references and some biology. What am I trying to say? Proportions and whatnot. Just see the character design and all that. So as I'm learning about Pablo, what's tell me about Pablo. Tell people about Pablo.
Oh, how do you clear a layer? Like I said before, Pablo is an albino gorilla, an albino cyborg gorilla that delivers pizza. He just wants to live his life, but unfortunately, the government that created him, they want their property back. And he's being hunted by something a little more sinister from his past. I feel like it's inspired by all of my favorite comics. I feel like I wear all my influences on my sleeve, and I happily steal from all my favorite artists and use their line work and hopefully pay homage to them properly.
Sure.
And I feel like, we're really lucky in comics. I don't know if you've had a very similar experience, but I've met a lot of my heroes and they're all pretty cool people. I haven't come across anybody that's really just cantankerous yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no one's a real a-hole. And I know those people exist. I just maybe I'm avoiding those particular people.
Sure.
But so far, everyone I've met has been really gracious with their time. And that's just a matter, I guess, if you approach them politely and ask if they have time, if they would mind sparing it. And I've had some really, really great conversations, amazing conversations, and learned a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, the idea of like meeting your heroes can, some people are not so down with that, and like I've definitely been like, I'm one of those guys that will get starstruck by comic creators, and there are creators that like that don't want me around anymore. That like I just like went too hard too fast and just like gushed all over them, and they were like,
"Oh no,
hey, man, go to so and so's table," and I'm like, okay, just like walk away like all sad. It's been like years, but like I've had that experience. But other than that, like that's on me. I like you're saying, I've never met somebody who wasn't gracious or wasn't like happy to see people at a show. They're normally just like stoked that anybody came by their table.
And one thing that always surprised me is once, I think it was at LA Comic-Con, and Chris Claremont was there.
Cool.
And he was like, nobody came up to him, and I was like, I want to come up to him, but I was having that moment where I was like panicky because it's like Chris Claremont. I was like, what do I say to him without sounding dumb? But I like, normally you would think like a dude like Chris Claremont would just have a line in front of him, and I was surprised, man. I was like, oh, like
Sure. Yeah, there's definitely those moments at a show. And like as we're drawing this, I realized you've drawn Dark Mouse before. You've drawn this
yeah, I've done a
dude.
pinup for you.
Yeah, and this was on a free version of comics that like I made available like years ago now, and
Yeah.
I'll link to that in the video description. So thank you for that. Thanks for always being down, man. And like something we were saying earlier, it's just like you're always so gracious and like always like you make friends lists and for which are basically scavenger hunt lists for people at convention shows. Like, hey, here's all the cool people. Go stop at their tables, and that's a big help to the community, and really like it's a big community builder. So you're doing it right, man.
I appreciate that. You know what, man? Honestly, like we've met so many great people doing what we do, and like we met in line, and back then I was like really shy about my line work and
Sure.
inking, and I felt like I wasn't really brave with my usage of, or not that I wasn't brave, but I was reticent in, using like really heavy blacks. And when I saw your work, man, it blew my mind. I was like, oh, this dude like is onto something. And it's like I look at your work, and it reminds me of like Eastman Laird, like Ninja Turtles, like how gritty that looked, and like how like goopy it was at the same time. It had like the certain like I don't know visceral nature to like how it was inked. And like it reminds me of like Frank Miller and like what he does in like Sin City and stuff as well. So yeah, your work like at that point it like really opened up. Like once I saw it, I was like, oh man, like I gotta try to see it from this guy's perspective and like figure out what he's trying to do and incorporate that into my work. So I feel like your stuff really influenced me and like opened me up at a time where, and I still am learning. You know what I mean? Like,
same.
Like I open up anything, I'm just like, oh man, this person's doing this and it's so cool. And like I wonder, if I can emulate it in any way.
Right. It's well, that's all very kind of you. I appreciate that. You're too kind. That's one thing I always say at the beginning. I forgot to say it this time. It's totally okay if we overlap on each other's drawings, or if we draw something purposely as a background element, or if we need to share colors, or if you need to cover any part of the gorilla I'm drawing, go for it. I'm going to take some liberties with his anatomy here. I hope that's cool.
Oh, by all means. I'm trying not to have Dark Mouse look like a deer.
I didn't see that until you said it, but as soon as you said it,
yeah.
Yes.
I'm just gonna find my style and mess around.
Yeah. Whenever I'm drawing on this site, it feels like even though I've used it before, there's always like a little bit of a learning curve I gotta like account for every time. And that's like, it's not a good thing or a bad thing. That's just how I operate on here.
Yeah. As with any program, I feel like it just takes some time, and you want that tactility, if you will, that tactile nature of understanding where it's coming from,
right?
And like how it feels.
Exactly. What can this toy do? Let's mess with it.
Oh, I'm like DJ in here, just spinning the image. That's not undo. Is this undo? Oh, all right, that's undo. The other rotate.
Since it is a lo-fi Photoshop, you're limited to like 20 undos ish, like right around there.
Yeah. Oh, look at that, dude. That almost looks like Hellboy.
Yeah, I'm noticing that as I'm drawing it. You basically have two fists of doom on this gorilla.
Yeah. Hellboy is a huge influence.
Sure.
Like I said, if you look at my stuff, you can tell a lot of my artwork, where the lines come from and who I'm borrowing ideas from, and who my influences are and what comics I like to read. Although I haven't been reading many comics lately, unfortunately, because it's been a lot of work primarily, which is good. It's a good problem to have.
That's great.
But at the same time, like in what we do in our medium, like the consumption of the medium is also so important. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I feel like you really need to see what other people are doing, because man, everybody has like such amazing things happening. Like what is her name? Is it Rosmo who's doing Harley right now?
I don't know.
That's
I haven't
some
seen
cool.
I haven't seen the Harley books in a minute. I did read, and I don't know how old it was, but I did read Marie Tamiko. I'm gonna get her name wrong. It's a Harley Quinn Breaking Glass. That one's a solid book if you haven't read that. But no, tell
No.
me more about the current Harley.
Oh, I haven't read it. I'm buying books now just based on artwork. Like I look at a cover, I'm like, that looks cool. I'm just gonna buy that.
Same.
And the artwork for the new run of Harley, or the current run of Harley right now, is fantastic. I think it's Elizabeth. I want to say it's Elizabeth Rossmo or Elizabeth Rossmo. I could be wrong. Someone out there, please correct me. I can Google it and look it up, but I love the style. Also, Harding, who did Murder Falcon.
I know I've heard Murder Falcon, but I don't know. I'm Googling these as you're telling me. I think it's Riley Brosmo.
Riley Rossmo. Okay,
At least
Riley Rossmo.
on
Is
Twitter.
Riley Rossmo a them, a she, a he? Do we know?
It's not clear. I'm guessing a he, but it doesn't say. But yeah, Harley Quinn, Martian Manhunter, Green Wake, Hellblazer, Wonder Woman, Batman. Yeah, it all looks
Canadian comic book artist. It's a dude.
right.
Sorry if I misnamed you, dude, but your stuff is amazing. Yeah, Riley Rossmo stuff is really cool. And then let's see, Murder Falcon. Murder Falcon is Warren. I think I'm thinking Warren G. Harding. Maybe that's where the Harding thing comes from.
Daniel Warren
Daniel
Johnson.
Warren Johnson. Yeah, so Daniel Warren Johnson is doing some really cool stuff. Who else is? Oh, Mike Del Mundo. That dude's amazing.
Yes, those covers. Holy crap,
Yeah.
man. I'm like, I know I've seen some of his covers like out in the wild, but I didn't really become aware of him until like I started looking at his Instagram and whatnot.
Yeah, so killer. Like the stuff he comes up with.
Yeah.
And Olivier Coipel. So I'm clearly like, I feel like your style, I don't know if you agree, but our styles are more along the side of the cartoonish.
Sure.
And that's not to say we don't do high reel or spend time with that, but in terms of our comic style that we employ, I feel like it leans more towards the cartoonish side.
Sure.
With simpler lines, and we want to get like more action and stuff in there. But the dude that just blows my mind and confuses me is Olivier Coipel, because he does stuff and I'm just like, what? Like it's like he's doing high reel a lot of the time, but it also like he's hitting those angles that are so cartoonish.
Yeah.
And it boggles it. Like I think he drew a Gohan or Goku. And I always tell people about this. I'm like, I don't understand how this looks the way it does. So if you guys have never seen Olivier Coipel, don't know who he is for some reason, maybe you're just getting into comics or whatever, that's a guy whose Instagram you should go and look at right now, because
absolutely,
he is just so sick, man. That guy is like
just these ones right here.
Yeah, look at that. Like the Harley is like real enough, but also cartoonish. Like
absolutely, yeah. It's a few things that are going on in this dude's there's like, if I had to guess, like there's obviously a ton of like figure drawing practice and
he's
foundational
amazing
stuff there.
Yeah, he's amazing at figure drawing. Like
the lighting and textures. What I kind of really love are his explosions, and anytime there's fire, because it's not drawn in an obvious way. Like there are so few lines on this image of Batman, and I don't know if he's standing in fire or snow or what, but he lets the colorist really go nuts because he just barely throws in some brush strokes or something, and then he's like, okay, that's fire. Now you have fun.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, his foundational work is just insane. Oh, what's this? Is this to resize? Oh, nope, that's not what that is.
We trying to shrink down.
Oh, I'm trying to see if I can muck around with side. Oh, maybe this. Ah, boom! Look at that.
Nice.
Watch out.
Nice.
Right.
Are they fighting or are they on the same team?
I don't know yet. They might be fighting. It might be a misunderstanding, as oft happens in comics. Right?
Oh yeah, let's make it that they don't know who each other are, so like they resort to violence immediately, but then they realize they have a common enemy. Let's do the Godzilla King Kong thing, and also Marvel thing, and also DC thing.
Yeah, just all of comics.
Right.
I forgot. Does Dark? Is he wearing like Converse? Like, does he have Chucks on?
He does not, but he would not be opposed to them.
Okay.
If you want to throw in some Chucks, go for it.
Does he have boots on?
Yeah, lately it's been boots.
It's been boots, right?
Yeah, in the past it's been like dress shoes, that kind of thing, like stuff you would wear like with something fancy. But no pressure on getting that perfect at all.
Okay, so we can add layers with this thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Where am I? Oh, I'm on my sketch still. Let's move that down here. Edit. Yeah, you can add layers, rename them.
Is this the add layer thing? Oh yeah, check it out. Layer 7. All right.
Yeah, you can go up to like 60 some-ish layers, and you can also
oh, look at that. Turn down the opacity. Yes, here we go.
Yep. And then there's also another handy tool that I always point out. You can make clipping masks, so you don't have to use select tool to make sure you're coloring inside the lines.
Man, this is pretty cool. Do they have an app for this Aggie thing? Like, can you do this on your phone and like hang out with friends and just like do jam sessions like this?
I think you can do it on your phone. You can definitely do it on like an iPad or a bigger tablet. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Every Wednesday, this drink and draw group called Long Beach Ink and Drink, or Ink and Drink LB. I forget what it is, but I bring it up every time because every Wednesday, like tonight, they have a online drawing jam session. So I'll be tuning into that later, and you are welcome whenever you like to attend as well. I'll send you the Instagram handle because they always put the link in there.
That's cool.
Let's see. I'm gonna try. All right. So if he's an albino gorilla, does he also have the red eyes?
His eyes are actually blue.
Okay. Good.
I didn't make them red, but they might be blue for a reason.
Okay. I feel like there's an obvious joke there that I'm not getting.
No, it's not a joke. It's
okay.
It's just an allusion to his capabilities.
Oh, gotcha. He is a cyborg, part robot. And the alt also works for color selection. So we were talking earlier, and you are normally drawing on pencil and paper and then use Photoshop for coloring, and I work similarly. How are you finding this particular session, this drawing?
I work digitally, actually. I use Autodesk Sketchbook.
Okay.
I don't do pencil and paper unless it's for commissions, because paper is expensive.
Gotcha.
So yeah, if somebody out there pays me to do it on paper, I totally will do it on paper. But yeah, to make things a little more, to expedite things, if you will, I, for the last few years, have primarily been working digitally, and I start all my stuff off on my phone on Autodesk Sketchbook, and even the transfers, it's the same. It's like I thumbnail and I storyboard from my phone, and then if it's for print or comic, I up-res it onto my desktop or my Surface Pro, and then I do it from there.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, my process is I start on paper. I have it's not a problem, but I have so many art supplies from really years ago that people just have given me over time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's and I just have tons of it. So if you ever need paper, I'm gonna give you some paper next time I see you at a show. When I see you at WonderCon, I'll bring some extra pads or something.
Oh man, hell yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah. So the only time you'll see me break out the analog is at conventions, generally, or if I'm doing commissions, obviously at home. But yeah, other than that, I don't work analog anymore.
Gotcha. And
Yeah.
does that achieve the goal, the streamlining that you were talking about?
It doesn't. I feel like I'm faster on paper, believe it or not.
Okay.
And I really, I love that feel of paper and like working on paper. But yeah, like we're indie artists, and that cost is not readily feasible all the time for us.
It's up there.
Because yeah, it grows. Let's see, how do we just zoom in? If I zoom in, does it zoom in for you, or are you allowed to work independently?
You can work independently. You're zooming in right now. I cannot tell.
Oh, all right, cool.
Yeah, go for it. Let's see. Guy, a bit longer.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I dig this.
Good. So you're talking about Eastman and Laird earlier. Like this is, you have a albino gorilla delivering pizza. I don't see any connection with Ninja Turtles there at all.
So I've been telling this joke when I pitch Pablo at conventions, which is, I'm only 1 degree of separation away from Kevin Eastman, right? Because I'm friends with David Avalone, who does Drawn and Bloodied with Kevin Eastman. And so it's like I don't want to abuse the friendship, but I as a joke, I always go, yeah, I'm going to try to bend his ear one day and see if maybe he could talk to Kevin about getting his blessing for me to just have Pablo toss a pizza down a manhole grate, because I think that would be amazing.
Oh, I think you could get away with that without consulting him. You could just do that as long as you don't include the character. Just be like, "Hey, here's your pizza," and then they just slide $1 up through, or slide a 20 up through the grate.
Yeah,
like you never actually show them.
I just want to make it official. Just be like, "Hey, is that cool if I do this?"
Sure. Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like in comics, everybody always Easter eggs stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're out here doing, man. We're making funny books, and there's a certain amount of joy that comes with that, that we're allowed to exercise our artistic freedoms.
Oh, here we go. Why is this not? Oh, because I'm on the wrong layer. There we go.
Wow, look at that. You're laying down the base of the color first. That's wild, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to like actively not get rid of, but like I want to be able to use lines, but also use also not have to rely on them also. like I've taken a few different like concept art classes over the pandemic, and like learning those different techniques. Like I haven't put them into practice as much as I would have liked to by this point, but I'm trying to do it whenever I can. So like this is like I was saying earlier, it's all very loose. So if I feel like it's not doing what I wanted to do, then I can always go back and add some lines later on and post it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this way of working, and I'm trying to do it more. Also, it just gives me like more practice with color because I need that, or I feel like my work needs that. Well, I love black and white. I love the chiaroscuro, and I want to try and develop this if I can as well.
Yeah, nice.
That makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense. It actually, it's you know, I don't know if you've ever seen me do commissions, or if we've. I missed you at Comic Con Ontario Revolution.
Oh yeah,
last year, which is really funny because you were there, and I walked by your table and I was like, "Where is he?"
Oh, that's right. I was sick, but I didn't have coronavirus. But yeah, I was not feeling good. Anyways, go on.
Oh no. Well, I'm glad you are with us and you're here and you're healthy again. So that's good news. And you know, we're gonna be seeing each other soon. But yeah, so when I do commissions, I actually don't use pencil anymore. I just build tone from Copic, and I work on. So in a way, it's very similar to what you're doing. And actually, it's the same for sketch card art too that I do now for Upper Deck. Is I start out maybe with like a light colored pencil, just if you will, kind of like an armature, and then I build tonality from the color palette that I'm working with that way, and then I do a lot of the blending, and then I go over that in ink. So yeah, it's actually a really great way to work. And the other bonus, if you you know you just work in Copic tone instead of working in pencil, is you don't have to erase, man. You just you just build up your tonality and your gradients that way. And then if there's any grays that you need to erase, you just go back and pound it with a blender marker. And yeah, you by not erasing, you're basically not abrading the paper. Most of the abrading might come from you know, if you oversaturate the paper with marker fluid.
Sure.
But other than that, it saves on the amount of waste that you generate with an eraser. And I've always hated erasing because for some reason I feel like I always mess the paper up and then it tears and like the little layers come off, and it's like, oh, this is such a better way to work. And I learned that from oh my god, I can't remember his name, this dude up in Portland who teaches like basically marker painting. That's his thing.
Nice.
And he was like, oh yeah, if you take a Copic 0 and you lay it down and then you go over it another time, it becomes a Copic half, and then a Copic 1, and you can just keep building colors off of, keep building you know, a darker gradation off of your Copic 0. And I was like, this is a thing? I didn't know that.
Sure.
And using that idea, I started working that way, and I found that Todd Knock, you know, a lot of people might know him from Spider-Man stuff. He works the same way, and then our friend Ray Anthony Height now, because of Todd, works that way as well. And
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, super efficient when you're doing commissions, especially con commissions. But yeah, for anybody out there who's looking to dabble in markers, I can't recommend it enough. It's like, it's a real game changer.
Nice. So I know we said we would only go an hour, might go a little bit longer. That's all right.
Well, it's okay, man. Hanging out with friends, drawing, that's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah. And it looks like, who did this this guest cover for Pablo? That's Dustin, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's crazy. Yeah, he just it happened at CCR actually. He was like, oh, you know, come check out the show that my buddy runs. He's really cool. And then I was there, and he came over and he was like, hey, how far are you with Pablo? And I was like, I'm like to lettering, like I'm almost done. He's like, I'll do a cover for you. And I just sort of stood there, jaw gaped. I'm like, I'm sorry, what did you say? So
Nice.
I mean, I will always show Dustin love. Shout out to him. If you guys don't know, Dustin always brings prints, his sketchbook, and original art with him. He'll be at WonderCon as well. So please show him some love and stop by and pick up some amazing stuff. He's so cool, man. He always does these like, and you're talking like a big time guy who like sells his artwork for like thousands of dollars. But he always takes his time to do these like little sketches that he sells, and that's how I actually got started collecting his work. Is he would always have sketches, and I always swing by and be like, "Oh, what do you have?" And check out his latest offerings. So I'm glad that these like bigger guys who are like upper echelon creators take time out to like show love to fans and like make sure that everybody can walk away with a little bit of what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice when art is accessible.
Yeah. But, just learning that, like, I think that's a good recommendation for anybody who wants to become an artist and like table at a convention. That's something great to consider, is make sure you have stuff at all price points that makes your art accessible to everybody. I have stuff that's like $2, and then I take commissions like as big as your wallet will go, and I'm lucky enough to do like $300-400 commissions, and like sell pieces in that range, and that's because of fans and because of the community. And especially in indie, I feel like we're kind of in the renaissance of indie creation right now, especially with crowdfunding, because man, this is stuff like we couldn't do but like 10-15 years ago. Even like I wouldn't dream about it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And thanks for bringing up the crowdfunding. Remember, everybody, iDraw.com to find out about the Dark Mouse Kickstarter, and talk a little bit about the several Kickstarters that you're involved with that are coming up.
Oh yeah. So wait, let me ask you this first. Is Dark Mouse running right now?
The coming soon page is up right now, and it's going to be launching officially, going to start taking pledges next Wednesday. So we're recording this on 3/23. On 3/30 that will happen. And we keep talking about WonderCon. I got to make sure I post this before WonderCon. WonderCon is April Fools, so I got to make sure this goes up before then. But yeah, it's the coming soon page is up right now.
All right, cool. Yeah, I was like, did I miss him launching? I feel like he hasn't launched yet. So
no, I haven't launched
the page is up, but it itself is not
correct. Yeah, and like everybody should be going to that page and clicking on the notify me on launch, because that's going to help the book get seen by more people. And I've done a Cthulhu what do you call it, Kickstarter anthology before. That was Russell's. It was the
yeah, we were in the same one.
Yeah, Cthulhu is hard to spell.
I think I just closed it. Oh
no.
No. Wait, can you get back in?
You can. Looks like you're here.
There we go. All right. I guess I accidentally hit the back key instead of one of these other keys.
The other back.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, I'm doing.
Yeah, we were in. Dude, that book was insane, man. Cthulhu is hard to spell, Volume 2.
Yeah.
What's his name? Paul Jenkins, right? Who wrote for Constantine, Hellblazer, was in that book.
Yeah, that's right.
Ray Anthony Height. Speaking of Ray, he's in that book. I mean,
oh, is Ray on that one too?
Yeah, I think he's got a story in that book. I feel like I just keep saying that Ray is in books, and he's like, I'm not in that book, dude. Because I was like, oh, you're in, I think it's Nightmare Theater. He's like, I'm not in Nightmare Theater. I was like, you're in one of these anthologies that I've been in. It was kind of a blur because I was like in 6 different Kickstarter projects, like in one time period. And I'm like, awesome. What is happening? All these are starting to melt together. But yeah, that book had some insane talent. So kudos to Russell for like, oh, man, getting all those people together. But yeah, that was a fantastic project for sure.
So talk to people a little bit about the Cthulhu anthology that you're a part of. And I want to say that Russell's involved in that one, but that's not his Kickstarter, right?
No, so he's got a story in it, but he is definitely not his Kickstarter, which is funny because his Kickstarter just funded. So
Yep.
Shout out to Russell and the Cthulhu crew. I don't know if it's going to be the last one, but it's definitely the last of what he wants to do with it. So he's closing out his trilogy with that third one that just funded. So look for the third book of Cthulhu is hard to spell. And I forget what it's called off the top of my head right now, but it's wrestling themed. Like the cover is really.
It's the Battle Royale, right?
Battle Royale, yeah, that's it. So Cthulhu is hard to spell. Battle Royale, which is hilarious. The cover is amazing, man. It's got Cthulhu. It's like about to land a slam on somebody, or is like jumping off the ropes of a wrestling ring. But the one I'm a part of that he has a story in is Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, which is the sequel to I Did It Again, which is Cthulhu Invades. I'm really bad at this. That's the back key, not the undo key. All right, trying to remember that.
You'll get it. You'll get it.
Yeah, it's a really fun book. Yeah, I had some copies. I had some copies to sell last year, and I almost sold out completely.
At WonderCon?
No, my first convention back. I'm trying to think of what it was. I think it was. Oh my God, was it? Oh, it was Rose City. I think it was Rose City, and then Utah, and then Baltimore after that. And
that was Rose City in that's not North Carolina. North Carolina is Heroes Con, right?
Yeah, North Carolina's Heroes. I'll be there in June. Rose City is Portland's con, and it was the very first convention I'd ever attended, and it is a fantastic convention. If you get a chance to do it, I highly recommend it. The people in Portland love comics, and it is clear that they love comics, and they come and they support you. And yeah, it's like one of those things where I always tell people, if you're going to do a show in the Pacific Northwest that's not Emerald City Comic Con, please consider Rose City Comic Con, because I just love the people out there, and there's a lot to see and do too. If you're a fan of brews, you enjoy anything from like an IPA to an amber ale. They got tons of brewery. Rogue is out there, Deschutes is out there, so it's some good beer, some good pizza, sizzle pie. I'm not shilling for any of these people. I just really enjoy these things. So
your memory is top notch. So like, why Portland for your first con? Why did you go away from California, if I can ask?
It was the one that accepted me. I applied to a bunch of them. That was the first one. Was like, come on up, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, hey, really? To go do a convention. Yeah, that was my very first time tabling, like my own table. I should say I had tabled with Geekscape at San Diego Comic-Con before, and I'd been at LA Comic-Con and stuff. But on my own, just myself with my name on the table. That was my very first table. As a creator. So I take a lot of pride in that. I feel like I'm like, oh yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. Doing the first one by yourself is kind of a little terrifying, but also like really gratifying. Even if you don't like make table money back, it's kind of nice to be able to say like, oh yeah, I did, this one is mine. Like that's it.
Yeah, right. It just it's one of those things. There's just something about it. It's like I don't know, maybe kind of like your first kiss, if you will, like that sort of feeling. You get like the butterflies or the willies, and then you go and you do it, and you're like, I did it. I'm not a complete failure. I might have failed a little bit, but not completely. But yeah, it's if you're out there and you want to make comics, want to be in the community, come out and do a show. And listen, like you said, I think for a lot of us, the goal is just to make a table. But also you just get to meet a lot of cool people, and you get to see how supportive people are, and like how interested people are in what you do. And it's always great, man, when you see like the same people time after time, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I always see this one family that's great. Shout out to these guys, but Walter is the one everybody knows because he's up. But it's Walter and his dad and his brother, and they always come out to support at all these like Southern California shows. And there's another dude, Anthony Mai, who's also really awesome. Yeah, it's just like there are people that you see all the time. They come by and they get like a trading card commission or sketch, or they're like, hey, what's the book that you got out now? And yeah, it's just great.
Nice.
I feel like we've totally sidestepped your original question, which is what is Cthulhu Invades Wonderland about?
That's true.
I just remembered that you had asked that. So Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. Someone had described at Baltimore last year to a friend that Cthulhu Invades Oz was basically an acid trip. And I feel like, yeah, that's the vibe. But, you know, Orange Code Productions, Travis, his wife Heather, his buddy Jerome, they put out these fantastic books. They always get really top tier quality like creators that are on the indie scene to come and do these projects with them. And this book is definitely the same. It's eclectic, you know, much like what Russell does. You're going to get funny stories. You're going to get, you know, tales of terror, some like thought pieces in there as well. And then it's just a rollicking good time because it's basically what happens when you drop Cthulhu into Wonderland, right? Like he's just running amok, or you know, if it's a he, but it is just running amok. And causing all sorts of mayhem. So yeah, I feel like it's just also it's a great deal. It's like a 200 plus page book with I think 35 creative teams or something like that. So you're gonna definitely get
many.
Yeah, you're gonna get bang for your buck with this anthology, much like with Russell's anthology. And yeah, I met people in Baltimore who came up to me and they're like, "This book is so good," and that's Great. Always so cool. Like, you know, when you're a part of something, people come up just like talk about how much they loved what you were a part of, and like what you did. Like that really, it blows my mind if anybody even knows who I am. Because usually I just get mistaken for Dustin. I think that's part of how we became friends.
That's like half of the stuff that I read from you online that I really love. And it's like, hey, another one happened today. Those are always really funny. Anyways, going on. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, it's so true, man. I feel like without fail, every convention, every show I've been to, people will bring me their Batman comics. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not that guy. And if he was here, I'd walk you over. So yes, if anybody out there is listening, I do provide concierge service to Dustin's table. If you happen to bring me your comics accidentally, I will walk you over to his table anytime. And I will also pitch his work to you too, because he does some fantastic stuff. Like he's got Little Monsters out right now with Jeff Lemire. Have you seen that?
I've seen the cover. I haven't read that book yet. Tell me, pitch me Dustin's work.
Well, first off, I always pitch Descender, which is just amazing. Like
that one I have, I think 1 or 2 issues of. I love that. It's watercolor, right?
Yeah, I mean, all of his stuff at this point is watercolor. He does a few things digitally. So I believe the Pablo the Gorilla cover he did do digitally. But other than that, all the stuff like he does is watercolor, and every now and then he'll throw in some digital pieces. But for Descender, for those who don't know, Dustin won 2 Eisners for painting that book, and it is much deserved. If I had to pitch it, I would say it was like Johnny Quest meets Blade Runner.
Wow,
that's like my elevator pitch for that book. Or like, you know, Johnny Quest meets like AI. Like it's definitely along that lines. And once you read it, you'll be like, yeah, I can kind of see that. But yeah, the world building that Jeff Lemire does is bonkers. Like it's so good. And then Little Monsters, I feel like I don't know much about it because I only read the first issue, so it's like a sneak peek into it. But essentially, it starts off, and you know, you kind of get the premise because it's made available as a synopsis everywhere. But it's basically like you encounter these kids in what looks like a post-apocalyptic world, almost like Walking Dead style, but all these kids are vampires.
Oh, neat.
I'm not going to ruin it for everybody, so go out and read it. But there are moments in it, and I did a fan art piece just because I was like, what is happening in this
book? Love it so much.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, that's so cool. But that's the thing, man. You get to meet these wonderful creators. who are just also on their own just awesome. So like I said, everybody please go support Dustin's artwork. I know he's much more famous than the both of us, and he's got like throngs of people that support his work, but still just go support the guy.
Go, stop by his table. Stop by his table again. You know what? Go twice.
Yeah, go twice. Pick up some prints, get a sketchbook. All of his stuff is always amazing. I don't know if you've ever used them before, but all of his work is printed through SGX printing in Garden Grove.
I have not yet, but they're at all the different convention shows and whatnot.
And they printed Pablo as well because they're I think they went to college. One of the owners went to college with Dustin, so they're friends of his.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I highly recommend them. You know, it does cost more, but the quality is insane. I mean, you flip through Pablo, and I sell people on this. I'm like, listen, I sell this book for $5 because I want it to match up against any book by Image or DC or whatever. You can just feel the paper quality. You can just look and see the print quality. It's offset printing. They do a phenomenal job. Customer service is A+. My comic messed up their printing machine, and they had to destroy like 2,000 comics.
Oh no!
Yeah, I felt so bad, but I was like, this is not in the proof that you guys sent me, because I don't know if maybe it was like the tone work that I used at the end, but it totally got warbled. Like the credit boxes were all messed up and stuff.
Wow!
And they looked at it and they were like, "We're so sorry about this." I'm like, I guess it happens. And they had to like send the image to like the print machines technician. They had to like run it up to the company, and the company was like, "We'll fix this." And then I got my books like a week or a week and a half later because of it. But yeah, man, that's quality customer service right there. Is they made it right. There were no complaints. They were just professional about it.
That's great. Yeah, that's what you want. That's really what you want from a printer. Just to be like, hey, we're gonna get the job done, whatever it takes. You know, like we're not gonna they're not going to do anything like crazy, but they're going to be reasonable, and they're going to be like, hey, yeah, this is what happened, but we'll take care of you. That's, you can't ask for more than that. I had a print shop that did my first. I used to do like augmented reality books.
Yeah, I remember those are cool, man.
Thanks. They were called those were called like the Shadow People, and they would have invisible characters. But anyways, the reason I bring it up is because the first place I had that printed those books, they did okay, and then I took it to a second spot. And I don't always go local, but I try and go local when I can to get books printed. And I went to this little spot called Mica Color. It's not around anymore. Now they're in actually like close to me. They're in El Monte. I'm in Baldwin Park. But they're called Queen Top now. Long story short, I took them the original book. I said, hey, this is what the last printer did. Can you guys do this or like even something better? And they were like, yeah, come back tomorrow. And like they took straw and they spun it into gold. Like I went back the next day. I was like, oh, you're totally printing like my next several books. And that's what happened.
Nice, man.
Went to them like several times after that. It was great.
I gotta get that info from you because I'm always on the lookout for local printers, especially now with like all the paper shortage and supply issues, man. It's like
it's
gotta try to support local too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like hey, these are our neighbors. Like, can we get something done here? And like maybe for like the big one you go somewhere else, but if you're doing like a short run or something, like hey, like throw some bones to your neighbors. That's cool too.
Yeah.
If and when possible.
Yeah, for sure.
So we are running up to like 7:30 here, so I'm gonna throw in some inks to just like bring this guy together here. But I wish I could keep digitally painting. Your dark mask is looking great, man.
Thank you, sir.
Love that. So we'll throw in a new layer, and this is gonna be inks.
Let's punk rock fanzine color this. See how this turns out.
Black. No, that's opacity.
Man, it's good to see you, dude. And I wish you well with your campaign, because running a crowdfunder is no joke. It is a job.
Yeah, I am learning so much right now.
Hey, if you need any help other than me, like sharing it and blasting it out for you, just let me know.
Yeah. What tips do you have for me? You've done apparently several Kickstarters. What are things I should keep in mind? What should I know? Ask me questions. Make sure I'm doing this right.
Well, I gotta say, the tutorials that Kickstarter has on the website are amazing. So I don't know if you've already checked those out. But the
Yep.
other thing I would say is, if you're setting up Kickstarter, you definitely need like a month lead time. I don't know if a lot of people realize that, but I get that from Terry Mayo, who does. Do you know Terry at all? You met him?
Um, no, maybe not.
He does Wicked Righteous back in the day for Alterna, and then he's got a new comic that's coming out that he just finished printing that funded on Kickstarter. But yeah, I picked his brain for a bit, and I talked to a bunch of other people. Don Walker from the Sketchy Bugs, obviously, because he's like, more Sketchy Bugs, so he's easily accessible. Scotty Lost, or Scott Lost, of Accidental Aliens out in San Diego. But yeah, you got to plan. Like that's a big portion of what people do on Kickstarter. Like there's so much involved in the planning, making sure you got your categories right, that the categories are simple to understand, making sure that the layout of your campaign looks cool and is easily understandable, and you explain to people and you're upfront about what you do, and that your breakdowns are easy. But yeah, some of the things to consider, like if you have a budget, whatever your budget is, add like 10 to 15% on top of that to give yourself a buffer, because you never know what could go wrong in terms of production costs, or shipping costs, for example. Shipping now is so expensive. It takes up a lot. Also, if you're starting a campaign, try to have your book finished as much as possible.
Yep.
If you're lacking like letters or colors, that's not a biggie. But at least pencils and inks, man. Pencils, inks, try to get that completed so that you can deliver, because that's a huge part of what makes the community enjoyable. Is just when people deliver a solid product, they deliver, if they can, on time and consistently, and the fans come back for that, the community comes back for that and supports that.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the Dark Mouse book is 100% done. The only thing that's not done, obviously, is the one of the rewards is the thank you page, and that people who contribute to the Kickstarter will be named in there. So that's the only thing that doesn't have like an actual finished place, but it's got a place in the book. And once putting the positive vibes out there, once it is funded, that'll go up in there with no problem. But yeah, nice. I finished that thing in January, and then like February, part of January I spent studying Kickstarter. February I spent studying Kickstarter, doing like all the prep, and yeah, I didn't realize like a couple of things, like the review process was a thing. It didn't take too long, but it was still like I got it in there later than I would have liked. And but for the most part, I think I've checked most of the boxes that you just mentioned. I'm trying to look at and contribute to like other Kickstarters, because like I'm seeing like different like just promotional strategies that are out there, like like how Walmart will have maybe like 50 big screen TVs, but the first 10 they're going to sell for like $50. And like, so like there are some campaigns out there that say like, oh, like for the first 48 hours, whatever, there's going to be 15 books that are normally $20, they're going to be $15. And like I'm like trying to add stuff like that in at the last minute. I had already planned that like the first 48 hours is going to be a couple different special deals that you can get. So if you have man, I totally spaced. Oh, if you back the book in the first 48 hours, and you back like the printed copy kind of book, then you get a free extra mini comic that is also done. And I'm just gonna like throw that in there, no extra cost, no charge for that. Just nice. Like, hey, you backed it early, you're gonna get this thing, and it's gonna be great, and I hope you enjoy it.
Awesome.
and just like, different ways to try and get more activity to the page, if at all possible. I'm going to be doing a signing event and the signing event or I guess Kickstarter launch event, not really signing because I won't have the book. Just used to doing signings. But I'll be at Nostalgic Comic Shop in San Gabriel on the 30th, a week from today, to help promote and celebrate the launch, and hopefully that will inspire some people to pledge or chip in a little bit. And then also I'm going to be creating some original art there, and that original art will be available as a raffle. So anybody who also backs in the first 48 hours will have a chance to get the original drawings that I'm going to be doing there.
Nice. And shout out to Peter Molini.
Yes.
Nostalgic is a great shop. I haven't had a chance to make it down to the new location yet. But yeah, Peter's a cool dude. I like Peter a lot.
Yeah, same. I go in there. Like he just, yeah, you said he has a new shop. He moved slightly closer to me, and so like I'm in there a little bit more these days.
Nice.
Also because we're gonna throw that event together. So yeah, it's just doing everything I can think of to try and get more people to look at it, more people to click on the thing.
Yeah, and I definitely have to shout out Peter, because not every shop supports indie creators. I'm sure you have that experience.
Yep.
So shops, we gotta keep those shops going, man. Like shops like the Comic Bug, shops like Nostalgic that are showing love. Heidi Ho with Eddie D'Angelini, who in his own right is a creator himself. He does the collector's comic. So you get these wonderful shop owners who know what the grind is, who know what is involved in making comics, marketing comics, and they're just out to help boost you and shine a light on what's being made. And it's really cool to have that happening for us and available to us here in the LA indie scene, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not. I've taken my books to like show different shops, and then like I show up like later on to say like, hey, what do you guys think of the book? And they're like, oh, we lost it, and like that happens, and it's kind of a bummer. And so like you don't go back to those shops. And but yeah, Pete's always down for local people, and it's always nice to find places that are it's like that experience of like a shop losing my stuff, that's not a common experience. That's pretty rare. Most shops are real cool spaces, and they understand the idea like, oh yeah, you make an indie book, cool, I want this book to sell. Like I remember at Meltdown Comics, when that was still a place, I think it was Francisco told me, I was like, hey, so if I bring this book and it sells out, like, should I bring more? He's like, yeah, that's what I want. I want your book to sell. I want to put this on my shelves, and that brings more people into my shop because that's good for me. So keep making good comics and like keep bringing it in. So like the next one, you're gonna sell more, and like that's what we want. Yeah, so that's it's always cool to have somebody in your corner. It feels like helping or at least like cheering you on.
Yeah, and that's an important aspect of comics in general, but especially of indie comics. But yeah, the greater you look at comics in the bigger picture, the grand scheme of things, if you will, and look at how many creators started out as indie creators. People like to say, or I like to say, that indie comics is the incubator of ideas. Like that's where so many wonderful stories, so many original ideas come from. Because you get people that are complaining about the big two, for example, or just like rehashing their characters, rebooting all the time. And it's like, well, turn indie. You're gonna find new creators, new stories being told, people from different backgrounds that aren't necessarily the same as yours, that can offer insight to maybe new ideas, nuanced ideas. Yeah, and it really is great, and you meet so many phenomenal people, like going from convention to convention, and seeing what they do and like what they're sharing with the world. And I think that's part of why, you mentioned earlier that I'm big about sharing stuff. And yeah, a myth that you might hear is like you should never share your work or show it to other people, and I totally am the opposite of that. I'm antithetical, or like they should be like, you should only worry about staying in your lane and like be selfish in a way, like not share other people's work. But it's like listen, as an indie creator, as a comic book creator, as an artist, I feel like that's not the right approach, because somebody might not enjoy what I do. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, I get that, but they might enjoy what my friends do, and that's why I put it out there. And I feel like I've been fortunate enough to help other people discover like new things. Like my friends have found some other great creators that I've met, and they're like, oh, this guy's like doing this thing that's so cool, or this lady's like painting up a storm, and like I never heard of her before. And so you don't know what you're going to enjoy until you see it, right? So I feel like you might as well just throw everything out there, and hopefully it catches somebody's eye.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way it should be. And if you are like you're saying, like selfish about it, and you're not going to share your work, you're not going to show it to anybody, then like your world's going to get real small real fast, and you're not going to have the homies there to help you out when you need it. Your Kickstarter, you're gonna have a harder time on your Kickstarter, and that's the way it goes. So hopefully, and like it's not. There's also like, that's like assuming that people like don't like socializing, but like there's we're comic book people. There are introverts among us, and we have a hard time getting out of our shells sometimes. So like, when at all possible, please do that for yourself, and so you can find your tribe, and so your tribe can find you, and hopefully learn to do cool things together, like drawing a gorilla and a mouse.
Right? But yeah, man, like I said, the first time I met you, dude, I just thought like your stuff looks so cool. This dude is awesome.
What is it? Did I select something? I always make a selection by mistake. Here we go.
No, I'm going for under and over, just completely look offset.
Oh, nice.
Zine. Yeah, there we go. If only I had some tones, like if only this thing had tones that I could fill in too, really get that sort of zine effect.
Oh yeah, like the printing.
Oh my god, that looks amazing. Cool. Jeez, look at that thing, man.
Oh wait, no, we're gonna go glowing eyes. Can we go glowing eyes?
I feel like we need to throw this in as a pinup for when I do Pablo 2.
Nice. Let's do it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, save it and send it to me, man. I'll
absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh man, this looks great. I think this is fun.
Where's my? This is the one I want. Let's go a little brighter. There we go.
Throw like a Pablo versus Dark Mouse like logo that's like super off register in the back. You know what I mean? Just like, oh yeah, you got ran through a ditto machine like 200 times. Like back in elementary school. Oh my god, that's how old I am. I'm talking about ditto machines. Kids are like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, well, I don't know what that is. What is that?
Dittos, it used to be this thing like maybe it was like in poor schools, I'm not really sure, but for whatever reason, a lot of schools I went to didn't have copiers.
Okay.
So teachers had this thing called a ditto machine, which was like used to make copies, and I don't know if it was like acetone and like something else. It always smelled weird. I never used it. You could just see the teachers doing it, and it looked like a tray, and they would like run it through. I don't know. It was crazy. But
would it come out like purplish almost?
Yeah, sometimes it would come out like purplish. A lot of the time, the register would just like the registration of the image, which would be like super fat and bulky, which is cool as a font. Like, you know, if you're doing like sort of goopy punk rock, metal, like old school looking stuff. But yeah, I definitely had that registration problem where a lot of times you could not read things. Like, you know how like the letter A is in like a serif font where it's like the curve with the little circle, or the circle would just be filled in, and like the letter, like a lowercase e would also just be filled in. So anything with like a little hole in it would just be filled in.
Couldn't get too detailed.
Yeah, and it's like, is this a B or an 8? Yeah, definitely no photos were involved. It was just letters.
That's funny. All right, I'm just going some big shading to reference your gun muzzle flares here.
Nice. Yeah, this is a fun application. I dig it.
Yeah, right. It's not bad. A little bit down here. All right, now we just need to sign this bad boy, call it a night.
All right. Oh, the other thing is, for those who are also looking to do campaigns, if you don't know about it, I highly recommend checking out Comics Tribe, which is run by Tyler James Vogel. On the site, they have this calculator, and man, that calculator is like pretty good because I used it to estimate how many people would support the campaign,
Oh, wow.
and it was almost like dead on. Had it not been for like a family member jumping in, just be like, I'm gonna back your campaign at 1,000. And I was like, wait, what?
Whoa.
So shout out to my family member, who's my aunt and her family.
That's nice.
Yeah, that was super nice. But because of her, like it totally threw the algorithm out of whack, I think. And then my campaign like blew up because all of a sudden they're like, somebody just pledged this amount.
Wow.
But yeah, like before that, it was like on pace, like in terms of what that calculator predicted. So if that calculator is up, and it was free when I did it, definitely use it and to sort of get an idea of like, you know, where you're going to be at and like what your funding goals should be. And you know, it let me put it this way, it's a good way to temper your expectations.
No, that's good. Yeah, that's like my I don't know if it's my biggest fear, but it's like it's one of those like, you know, well, what if it doesn't happen? But I don't want to put that, I don't want to put too much of that juju out there. It's a reality that's I'm taking a swing at this and see what happens. But
And you know, failure is okay on crowdfunding. Like a lot of
absolutely.
people, I feel like, don't spend enough time talking about that because usually what happens is, you know, if you fund, sometimes a super backer will come in, and you guys, if you haven't run a campaign or encountered a super backer before, there's a few of them, and they'll jump in and they'll give you insight into like what they're thinking, and they'll actually offer you really great advice. I've had some friends who've had contact with them, and you know, they tell you, they're like, hey, this is what's up. I think, you know, maybe if you did this, because I'm really into it and I've seen it in other campaigns, this will work, kind of thing. So some of those people have really great ideas, and
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah, and
Like
it'll
guardian
encourage you
angel to show up.
yeah, and then you know, you get to reassess, you know, maybe where things went awry or like maybe what you did right, and you can relaunch at a better time.
Nice. Well, cool, man. Let's see. I do just a little more. How big can I make this brush? It's not that big
I
at all.
love it, dude. That is sick.
I want to echo the lighting a little more, make it look like it's in the same space. There we go.
So how long is your campaign going to run for?
I think I'm doing 5 weeks. I'm doing March 30th through 5/5.
Okay.
So hopefully
I hope
that's
it funds
enough.
quickly, man.
Yeah, likewise. If everything goes, you know, the way I'm imagining in my dreams, then all will be well very quickly here.
Yeah.
Cool, man. I'm not gonna cover that. Cool.
Are you ready to live on social media?
Gosh, I'm already doing it, and I'm already getting burned out. I'm just like, oh man, I'm tired of hearing from me. But yeah, got my humble small email list. I got my social medias going, and I'm trying to like post like different things. Like I'm making these videos, so I'm not just asking people for money.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Trying to put as many things out there as I'm trying to ask for at the same time, just to say like, hey, like I enjoy making stuff and I want to print this book. I'm trying to treat it like pre-orders. So like, hey guys, if you can pre-order this, please do it. Also, check out this cool video of me drawing a gorilla and Don drawing a mouse, and they're fighting each other, and it looks kick-ass. Go watch the video, listen to that while you're doing whatever else. But yeah, so making stuff, as long as I'm making stuff, I'm pretty happy. As long as I'm keeping my hands occupied. But cool. That's I love the Dark Mouse that you've drawn here. And if I had more time, or if we had more time, I'm sure we would trick this out even more. But I'm really happy with this, man. Thanks for taking the time and jumping on.
Dude, thanks for knocking out a crazy looking Pablo. I love it, dude. He just looks like he's like, hey, why are you shooting at me? What's up with this?
Yeah, he does look a little stoic right here.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go more vicious route next time. But I will see you at WonderCon. Many lucks on all the different things you're doing, and many lucks up at the in Modesto at the festival.
Appreciate it. Yeah, gonna be doing moderating a panel. So I gotta.
Oh, that's
beef up
cool.
on-
What's the panel called?
It's on world building. It's gonna happen on Saturday at 3 p.m. at the Latino X Comic Art Festival. And yeah, hopefully we'll get some insight and get people interested in creating worlds and fleshing out their worlds, and learn maybe about some of the pitfalls of that, because I don't know anything about world building. As clearly I'm not the world's best writer. I do writing as a hobby and to get stuff done. But yeah, to learn from some pros would be amazing. And there, let's see who's in it. Jay Gonzo and Amber Padilla, I think, are the two names that come to mind. And then I think a professor just joined the group, but I don't remember his name. I believe it's first name is Luke. I don't know the last name off the top of my head right now. But yeah, it's I think it's gonna be a great show. It's free and parking is free. How insane is that, man?
That's so rad.
Yeah.
I love when little shows like that do all this stuff right.
Yeah,
that's
they
great.
got a low. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say they
Go
got
ahead.
a low rider show too.
At the same time?
Yeah, they're gonna have. I think it said like maybe 14 to 20 low riders are gonna be out there. So I gotta check that out and take some photos, man. It's gonna be sweet.
That's great. That's such a good mix to have at that show, because like I guarantee you, like some of those guys are gonna go in there. Like I can imagine like some of my family members walking into a comic show and just going like, "What the hell is this?" And then like acting all tough, and then like 2 seconds later, like, "Hey, this is a pretty sick gorilla over here, yo." And then like that, I guarantee you that's gonna happen at some point during the show. Well, cool, man. Good luck on the panel. Good luck with all the different projects. Like I was saying, I feel like you're a wrestling fan, and we should talk about that at some point in the future.
I'm an old school wrestling fan, man. I haven't watched
Yeah.
any of this AEW stuff, and I have some friends tell me about it. I'm like, oh man, I've only had the time to sit down and just like watch TV.
Like occasionally while I'm drawing, I'll pull up like an old Hell in the Cell on YouTube and like have that going while I'm drawing stuff. But yeah,
Oh, yeah.
same. I grew up on the Attitude Era, me and my brother. But yeah, I will see you at WonderCon.
Yep.
What links do you want to share with people before we go? Or I can just bring that back up. There we go.
Yeah, just find me at Winning It on most major social media platforms. Winning It is copyrighted, so it's most likely going to be
Nice.
me. And if it's not, maybe it's a cousin or something that stole it. I'm
so
not going
funny.
after it. I'm not going after anybody yet unless they're using it for profit, which hasn't really been the case. But yeah, find me there, and I am an overshare, so you'll learn about all my projects. Everything will have links to it, and yeah, I will blast out a ton of amazing creators that I think you should follow, like my man Nathaniel here. I appreciate you having me on. I'm so glad to see you, dude.
Yeah,
Can't wait
likewise.
to see you at WonderCon, and find me at B50 at WonderCon.
I was about to say B50, right? Yeah, I'm B56, so we'll be close. We'll be chatting it up.
We're
Cool.
essentially just but that's like two tables down from each other, right?
But B56, well, it's gonna be that's like 5 tables, right? Because 50 to 56 does it?
Oh, I
skip,
thought it
or-
was evens on one side, odds on the other.
Oh, if it's
Is
that
it?
way, then yeah. Well, it's gonna be close. Whatever it is, 3 tables,
Yeah.
5 tables. Yeah,
We're
we'll
in
be there.
proximity. If
Yeah.
you need somebody to watch your booth, I got you, man. You need
Cool,
some
cool.
snacks, let me know.
Right. I'll get you that paper too. Cool. All right, guys. Remember to follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Go to Kickstarter.com, support the Dark Mouse Kickstarter. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks for hanging out and making a combo drawing with me, Don.
Thank you, man. And yeah, Dark Mouse is such a fun comic, man. Everybody go pick that up. Go get on that launch and sign up to get notified.
Yes, do it.